So Ian is a writer. He's written a book on 9/11 a few years ago, and he's also owns a coffee business in West London.
Oh wow, amazing! Brilliant.
Les is a white black cab driver.
Okay.
Retired, semi-retired.
Just before you move on, sorry, my granddad had the first white black taxi cab in Liverpool ever.
Really?
Ever. Well, really, it's not really. I suppose it's nothing, but I thought it would tie in with what you said. Too.
Yeah, no. A white.
Hello.
Les might know. Yeah. That's Gary there. Gary's a stand-up comedian, among other things.
Hi, Gary.
Hello, I'm sitting down though.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm sitting down.
He's a sitting down stand-up comedian. When he does his comedy act, when Gary does his comedy act, he's actually sitting down. He's lying on the floor like that on the stage.
Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's just lazy.
5 years.
He's just lazy.
Where's Gary? Can't see him. Where is he?
Isn't that permanent?
It's in law, but these were emergency powers which have just been renewed for another 6 months.
Right.
So they just the MPs just voted about 2 hours ago, and they just extended them for another 6 months until September.
What's that?
Right.
That's the
£5,000 fine if you go away on holiday.
yeah, all that, and 10,000 if you have a mass gathering or a party, or in your case, if you do dodgy things in the back of black cabs,
Yeah. It costs you more than that to go to Centre Parks.
I'm sure it doesn't.
Right as well. It would cost you more to go to Centre Park.
Yeah.
I keep hearing music.
Yeah, I know. That's probably.
Gary then, Sam? He ain't about, is he?
He is. Yeah. Don't worry about Gary. He's doing his birthday thing.
I can't see him on the screen. I can only see 4 of us. Can you see me?
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, Deborah.
Yeah.
You're facing the wrong way, Nate. And I can see Nat Knowledge. You're facing the wrong way. You ain't in the garden, Gary, are you? I am, yeah. On next week.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So.
Sorry guys, can you hear me?
Yeah. Is Melanie?
Hi.
That's Melanie. Hello, Melanie.
Hi, Melanie.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I do
So-
you wait. Sorry.
That's all right. No worries. So quick intro. Melanie is
Anything you want me to be.
yeah, basically. She's a stand-up comedian. She's worked with Bernard Manning in the past, and she does some singing as well.
She's a singer.
Yeah. And
Where's from, yeah?
right. So for the purpose of
Where'd you get
Deb.
phone from? Who woke him up? Where'd you get
All right.
the phone from? It looks like he's been in the ground all day, doesn't he? Look. Where'd you get that phone from?
All right. Okay. All right.
I
So
can't see ya. Who? You. Anyone else yet? Anyone else yet? Anyone else Gary saying?
yeah, we can see him. Don't worry. Okay.
I'm the only one who's saying I can't see him on my phone.
Don't worry about that. He'll
On
come.
iPhone 1.
He'll come and go. Don't worry.
You don't need to see him, you only need to see me.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I can't hear the other lady either.
Yeah. You will. Don't worry,
Yeah,
Liz.
you see Milk?
You will, don't worry.
Right. Okay. So.
Still, they got the best faces on there anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So, Ian, what's your take on the past year with the lockdown and everything?
Oh God. Well, I personally, I mean, everybody's got their own opinion, haven't they? I personally think the lockdown was right, but the way they've done it's all wrong, and it's much too repressive, and I want to see it coming off again. You know, these things come in, and income tax introduced a temporary measure in 1807 or thereabouts.
Oh yeah.
So it's that £10,000 fine that I don't like the look of.
Well, don't do anything there, so you don't get lumbered with it then.
Some people
Well, you've
have.
got to be careful. If you go down to the middle of town and hold up a placard, that's organising a protest, and that can cost you £10,000.
You just don't do it then, do you?
Some people have already been fined £10,000. Actually,
No, I know.
some people have already been fined. Ian, you are aware some people have already been fined £10,000.
I just read it. Sorry,
Yeah.
I haven't checked that fact. It might not be right, but that's
No. I'm just saying some people have already been fined. Quite a few people.
Yeah, Jeremy Corbyn's brother.
Damn.
Yeah.
They've already been fined. Yeah. I've just seen.
Well, £1 a week week off me then, I'm afraid.
I was going to say, can you pay in instalments? Is that allowed?
We'd have to. I mean, not everybody's got £10,000 to the ready, have they?
No, at the moment, nobody's got any accounts. How can you pay it? It's ridiculous. Come
Well,
on.
Les has.
He's a black cab driver. Yeah,
Can you pay for mine, Les, if I go to Tenerife unannounced?
Yeah. So I've just changed the gallery. So we've also got with us. Just interrupt briefly. Navajat. Navajat is a mystic. I call him. I've known him since I used to have the bookshop in Woodford. So Navajat is like a mystic, basically. He's into all sorts of mystic stuff. But he's got a very good take on current affairs and politics and everything. So welcome, Navajat.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You're all right, I can see him that Ben.
Yeah, I know. So Navajat,
You turn Les off.
no, he's
I
there.
can't see you, girl. I'm all right. What's going on? Open your bloody eyes.
Everyone's there now. Everyone's there.
You're like a pinball wizard. He's deaf, dumb and blind. I can see lovely Deborah and Ian
Thank you.
and that knowledge. I can see him. But
Right,
that's what's on the screen.
Les, don't worry.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing, Les.
Oh,
So,
can't be right. I need another phone tonight to get the other four on.
no, don't worry about it, Les. They'll come as they speak. They'll come on. So, Navajat, let's have your take on the last year of lockdown. What's your take on what's happening in the past year?
Are you asking me?
No, Navajat.
For myself, I've kind of enjoyed it. It was like a little bit of an adventure, and I'm not a very social person, so I have lost almost nothing. I ride a motorbike, and bike riding, I understand, unless I'm completely wrong, is allowed because it's your form of transport and also a form of exercise. So riding the bike around near Essex in the little by lanes is fun. And then get back home, girlfriend, YouTube, books, poof. So that's one thing. I'm really worried for the country and for all the other countries in the world. Everything is so interdependent, and the businesses being closed and not taking anything in, that's not going to be good. I do not believe, or I'm really surprised at the tiny figures when they mention just a few percent by which the national, whatever they call it,
The GDP, yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
some has gone down.
10%, they said. 10% has gone down, yeah. Which
That's on
it
the
seems
negative
like...
side. On the positive side, I think it will have some positive effects too, because basically the modern world is mad. At least 1/3 of all our total effort goes into rubbish. Plastic shit from China,
Yeah,
little
yeah.
gigoes, drugs, and pop culture, the low pop culture, you know. So if that went, there will be no loss to the world.
I know what you...
What we need are the plumbers, the bakeries, and car mechanics, doctors, people like that. So the aftermath of the COVID could, in a way, slightly sort out some of the waste that's been happening for decades now, forever. The uselessness of every third person's employment, but unfortunately, I don't think it will go like that. A lot of people who are basically parasites will survive, and a lot of the people who are essential, they will go somehow under.
Yeah, the big boys will survive, and the little boys have already gone under. Yeah, so, okay, let's move on to Deborah. What's your take on the past year with the lockdown?
When you say take, you mean how it's affected me or how I see
Yeah,
everything? Or a bit
yeah,
of everything?
bit of everything.
Well, I suppose firstly, I had a chance to really go inward, and it sounds very cliche, reflect, but my past has been very colourful with lots of tragedy and crap and rubbish and some happy highlights, but not the best most of the time. And I was actually enabled to put all that behind me and start to write poetry and sing and draw. And like the gentleman previous, I'm a very solitude person. I like to be alone. I'm not going to say I don't like people, but I don't like people a lot. I go outside and I wear headphones in my ears because I don't like to engage in the street. And it sounds very rude, but it's not. It's because of my anxiety, and I don't want to connect with Bob about nothing and say, oh, how are you, Bob? And Bob doesn't really care how I am either, so who cares, you know. So I've been very solitude, and I've been able to get creative. And what I've done is I've turned that into teaching a charity called Home Start in Blackpool, which is for disadvantaged families kind of living on the breadline, which I've been there in the past, not as a mother but as a child. And so I'm in the process of teaching single mums to creatively write. No, I'm not a writer, but I know what I know, and it's helped me. And also, what worries me is that I did predict this in the beginning, that we would have an epidemic of, weight gain. I said this when the first lockdown, and I did say mental health, exactly. And lucky for me, in the first lockdown, I managed to lose a whopping 4 stone, and that was just from purely thinking, right, I need to do this. I can go outside now because nobody's around, and so I used it as a flip-sided coin. And then I realised, actually, a lot of people who do weight bash other people are going to now realise how difficult it is with weight. So that was something I learned.
Mm-hmm.
And mental health has become, many people that have never experienced poor mental health in the past are now experiencing that. I'm not saying I want that. I'm saying I think it's good in a way because we can identify with each other. So that was, I'm not saying it's a positive, I'm saying we can identify. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously in my community, a lot of businesses are completely struggling. I wrote some poems about politics and poems about COVID, poems about single mums. So the creative that has helped me get through it. And it's been very sad that I feel quite useless when I can't go into my community and physically reach out because I hate going outside anyway. But, I feel a bit of that I'm not contributing a great deal. And I feel a lot of compassion to people's families, and it's been awful. I know how still we're going to climb out of it. But I have a great deal of respect for everyone involved who's helped,
Yeah, no. That's good stuff. So as you mentioned, writing poetry and being creative, I'm going to move on to Melanie because I think she's had a similar kind of experience in the past year. Melanie?
Yeah, well, October last year, I was doing my master's degree and I worked on infectious diseases, the last one I went on the wards. And there was quite a lot, seemed to appear to a lot of cases coming in the back doors. So when I moved from that, I started to keep myself occupied, trying to keep myself sane. I went out and took snaps of countryside, put it on Facebook for people who haven't got backyards, who can't get out and about to exercise. And then I started singing about 2 weeks before the lockdown. And I've been classed now as a modern Vera Lynn, keeping people entertained.
Okay,
so I started singing, and just has helped me a lot because I've been quite isolated for quite a while on my own. So welcome to my world, anybody who's struggling with it. I do have meltdowns like anybody else. We all suffer with it. We all grieve in different ways, and we all deal with situations in different ways. It depends what kind of upbringing and how resilient we are as well. What we've dealt with in the past, etc. So that's what I've been doing, and it has certainly helped me. And I've just been in the Only Good bubble, and I love listening to the news, local news especially, just to keep me educated what's going on, etc. But I've completely turned off BBC News. I mean, I get flashes on my iPad, my phone from Manchester Evening News, from BBC, etc. And I just glimpse at them. I think anything that I seriously need to know, somebody will tell me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about something that is completely out of my control. I have been a born worrier all my life. Maybe that's why I got into the creative side, performing arts. I've no idea. And I've also done I've done a teaching degree as well as my BA honours in performing arts. So I have gone back to the creativity side, but I've lost my train of thought now.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No. Let's speak to Gary. Gary, we'll come back to you, Melanie. Then, do you want to finish off, or shall I move on to Gary?
No, move on to Gary.
All right, Gary. So, how's the past year been with you?
I don't put the news on and I don't get on the scouts. That's it. I've been doing loads of walking, just finding everything funny in it. You know me. I just try and make jokes out of everything.
Yeah, well, I know. I'll get them every day off you.
I don't normally like going out, but I go out and do my walks, and I bump into people, and I have a little chat with people. I'm picking up new material, having a little bit of a laugh. When I see the girls when I'm doing my walks, and morning girls is my favourite, all that sort of stuff. So I try and make a bit of fun of it. Is what I try and do.
Yeah. People watching it is great.
I told you I had to go to work. I went to work. I got this first time in 14 years. I got myself a job. I was like a lollipop man on a building site. I was a traffic marshal doing the traffic coming. But again, that got me on site with real people and showing off. Showing off, telling people what I do.
You're a people's person like me, aren't you, Gary?
Well, if they pay me when I'm on stage, they pay me.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm a male prostitute.
Money talks.
I'm going to get paid.
When you're free, Gary. When you're free, I'm for half an hour.
I'm old. 3 hours or nothing. I can't do half hour. Takes me half hour to get my socks on.
Gary's quite rampant. So last but not least, let's move on to Les. Les, how's the last year been with you?
Well, as I say, Ted, everybody's covered most of the things. The main thing I find it's all routine now, and it's boredom. You've got to do something to keep your head right, because otherwise you can actually go crackers. You know. Walking, Les. Go walking. No, I've done all that now. I go out with my daughter and stuff. I do all that, but no, it's just a matter of boredom, really. I mean, when you had a bit of a routine, you was getting up, going to work. There was something that you knew you had to get up for, but now every day seems the same. You know. And most of the times you lose track of the days anyway. You think, what is it, Tuesday, Wednesday, day? And you do. But if you're out doing something, like for example, just going for a walk, you feel 100% better than just sitting indoors, because your head just goes like cotton wool. You just feel, you feel like you're losing it. And it's just boredom, really. I mean, I can't really say much more, but I mean, as I say, I was cab driver at 46 years, so the last time I worked was last month. So I ain't worked for a year.
But would you? Yeah. Would you work again?
Well, my bill run out. My bill run out on the 10th of March. It run out, but I haven't renewed it.
Oh, okay.
So I got a license. Yeah, my license. Yeah. So I get a letter from the TfL saying that we haven't received your application for your, renewing your license. So I emailed them back. I just said, well, the thing is, I said, because I know you allow 3 months, so let that go. Let your licence run out, but they give you 3 months. So I said, the thing is, I said, money's scarce at the moment, I says, and there's hardly any work available up there, and I will be renewing it once we come out of lockdown. Whether I will or not, said Town, I don't know, because I'll ask all my mates if they're still working, the ones that got their own cabs, the electric cabs, £60,000 cabs, they got to go to work, but if they're on payment holiday, they ain't paid their cab for a year, so they're not getting away with it, they've got to fucking pay.
60s.
So,
Yeah. £60,000 for the electric cabs.
Yes.
Yeah, believe it.
Yep. If you have that on a strap, it's going to cost you 70 grand over 5 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of investment.
For me, I was hiring a cab. I mean, I've had my own taxi, but before the lockdown, all that last March, I was hiring my taxi. So now, you've got to go and hire a cab, you've got to put diesel in it before you start earning your own money. And there's no money up there. They're sitting on rates for 2 or 3 hours and waiting for a job.
Yeah.
Them days won't come back, Les, will they? Sorry, no? Them days won't come back. No, I've had the better days, of course I have. I mean, I've got my badge in 1974, but I can't see it coming back.
As we all know, yeah. So, okay, good stuff. Ian, How do you think the media have handled this past year? I mean, I think there's been a lot of scaremongering going on as well, and they've had their own kind of narrative.
Suggestive, haven't they? I can see why some people don't bother to watch the news.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just COVID, and then maybe a tiny little bit at the end about some other country. I mean, from Britain, you'd think that we were the only country in the world. Rarely do they go outside. And when they do go abroad, it's usually just to vilify some enemy regime that they're planning to overthrow, as in China at the moment. So, you don't really find out anything. I mean, I'd like to know whether the Russian vaccine works or not. From the BBC, I don't think you'd even know there was a Russian vaccine, or a Chinese one, or an Indian one. They're only aware of the European ones.
Or the American one.
I'd take. It's rubbish.
Yeah.
It's just huge amounts of news about nothing, basically.
The BBC will only tell us what they want us to know, won't they? Or put a fear in us, tell us what they want us to know.
Yeah, that's my take as well.
Yeah. Navajat, what's your take on the media, how they portrayed the past year? I mean, is there a lot of scaremongering going on?
I don't know scaremongering, but they certainly massage or modify the information that's coming at you. Definitely with COVID, for example, we still do not hear that hydroxyquinoline actually works, and there are very strong indications from many places around the world and from people who, professors and doctors, that it does work. And so, where is the hullabaloo around that? Something that actually works. Just off the top of my head, I remember a black woman doctor from Texas who has had hundreds, I think about 900 COVID patients, maybe only 700, can't remember, and she hadn't lost one. None of them died because she gave them a combination of hydroxyquinoline, zinc, and a couple of other
vitamin D probably or something. Yeah.
Important things.
Yeah.
And where is the news about that? I just happened to on it on some less well-known news site. For example, then the obvious thing with the elections in America, there was definitely shenanigans going on. A lot of. And we are told, no, that's been disproven, nothing, just imagination from the Republicans and from Mr. Trump. Not saying he's that likable, and I'm not even claiming that the Republicans would have won had these things not happened, but surely the honourable thing is to really go and find out, and the media haven't done that. Nor has the incumbent president. Of course, it's not in his interest, probably.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, two examples enough there.
Yeah, no worries. Deborah, do you watch much of the news?
Well, in the beginning, yes, I was following it. I do follow regularly the news. I have a big interest in current affairs, world politics, national, local, and so when this whole first hit, to be quite honest, I get quite obsessive about things. I can get quite, TV head with the news. Apart from the news, I don't watch any other TV ever, period, in my life. I hate the television. So I decided after 2 months of watching the news that I was becoming ill with it. I was getting quite depressed, I was getting quite anxious, and I was just becoming less sleep, eating less. I thought this was making me extremely ill. So I cancelled the TV licence and I never watched it again. That's what I did.
Well, you're a brave woman. You're a brave woman. No, good for you. Good for you.
Terribly ill. I was just sitting here whittling away, smoking, thinking, oh God, but the whole world, I can't fix the whole world, but if I could, I would,
Yeah. I mean, it really is depressing. Melly, you want to say something on that? On the news?
No, I was just going to say, like I say, it just put the fear of God in me. I watched it continuously, national as well, up to the build-up of it when I said there was going to be a shortage of food and all this, like there was going to be riots practically on the streets. all fighting for toilet rolls and milk, etc., like they did at the beginning. So it put the fear of God in me, and like I say, I mean, I was one of the first ones to go out with masks and gloves on and protective clothing. People were laughing at me, and then I just kind of, just left people to it kind of thing, and like I say, watching the National and that just put the fear of God in me, and I don't watch TV now anyway. So like I say, it's just if a car radio news comes on, or I get flashes on my iPad, on my phone, etc. Like anything that catches me eye that I think I need to listen to, I'll take note of. Other than that, like I say, there's out of my control. There's nothing I can do about it. All I can do
when you said
carry on with the clipboarders. I mean, you've just got to play the game.
When you said you get flashes on the screen, when you said you get flashes on the screen, it's not Gary or Les, is it?
Here we go.
What are you saying?
Anyway, Gary, do you watch much of the news?
Look, I told you I don't watch telly. Don't watch telly.
Okay.
I don't watch the news. It is depressing. And years ago we used to have Trevor McDonald, and I used to have a little joke at the end.
Yeah.
So I used to watch the news.
And finally.
Light-hearted.
And finally.
Bad news.
Yeah.
And fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And exactly, as soon as the news comes on, all the way through, bad news, stabbings, things going wrong in the world, people starving. And honestly, I just don't watch it. Don't watch it. And I weren't joking. I don't watch the news. I don't get on the scales, and I play music. And that's all I can do. I can't, a bit like Bill, I can't do nothing about other people. Other countries, I can't do nothing. No one listens to me.
Yeah, life is difficult enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for what they're throwing at us, it is very hard to accept and understand some of the politics behind it and everything else, or the rigmarole behind it all. So, like I say, it's just clipboarders, and half of them haven't got a clue what they're doing anyway.
Okay, so do you think Les coming to you? I know you don't watch much of the news, or you do, or you don't. I don't think you watch much news, do you?
I just look at a bit of it, but as I say, it's all repeating all the time. Sky News, it's repeating hour after hour, isn't it? Somebody tells you, say, "I'll watch it later." You're bound to get what's been going on. So some people just sit in front of it, and it's like same thing over and over and over and over again. As I say, most people are saying in the Zoom here that it just depresses you. I mean, when they first they was out in Italy, and they were showing all those people dying out there. I mean, you'd want to, top yourself the way things were going on. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. But you keep watching it, and it don't do you no favours.
All right. Okay. So, all right. Let's move on. Two quick questions, Ian. Should we have vaccine passports, and where do you think we will be in a year's time?
Well, I think somebody's going to make an awful lot of money out of creating fake passports if we do. I've
started already.
There's a big opportunity there for an enterprising entrepreneur. What was the other question? Will we still have them in a year?
What will happen in a year's time? Where do you think we will be in a year's time?
Oh my God, goodness knows. It depends what variants crop up. Could be anything from we'll think what was all the fuss about, right through to sort of even worse, dare I say it. I mean, we don't know, do we? It depends on how many variant. I mean, if you believe, a lot of people don't believe in it. I do. I think there is a virus out there that is killing people. And the problems they've got at the moment are because they've got a new variant, which is a completely new virus, basically. Except that fortunately, you can get. It seems to still be vaccinated against, but goodness knows what other new variants are going to come up. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Navajat.
I know somebody who's quite high up in the people up in the sort of ministry.
Yeah.
And they're still pretty worried. And they warned me. I mean, I was a real skeptic. I thought it was all bullshit. Excuse me.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
And I was actually on the TV because our neighbour was the super spreader.
I remember you telling us last week.
Complete coincidence.
I know.
So I was there on the 9 o'clock news saying this is all a load of rubbish. The guy's hardly ill. He's got over it now. Can't see what all the fuss is about. So don't ask me. Navajat,
where do you think we will be in a year's time? And what about the vaccine passports? Do you think we should have them?
I think the vaccine passports are coming. with all the focus on vaccination being the solution or partial solution at least, they have to come. It's just simple as that. So there will be these passports. How much they will be required, that we don't know yet, but it looks to me that it will be difficult to travel without one. Then a small question is how long will the passport last after the last vaccination? Is it just a few months or is it a year? It doesn't sound like it. I believe the Israelis have a vaccine passport form of already, and I seem to remember that it was valid for 6 months, which is a good period, but then again, so that's one thing. What was the other part of the question?
In a year's time, where will we be? Free of this or not?
No, we won't.
No.
The Chinese are realizing that this virus is a little bit weak, so they're working on a better variant, obviously, because you can see
As soon as possible.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it is a kind of almost a living thing, though scientifically there's still an argument: are viruses creatures or are they just a material? Somewhere in between. And they don't really have to put too much effort into bettering it. It will evolve by itself, and it is doing so as we see. Meanwhile, there are other viruses, and at any moment they can strike too. But not just viruses, bacteria, and I think if we are lucky in a bad way, we could turn out to be possessing in 1 or 2 years' time passports with like 32 pages, and each page would be for a different form of virus. You've been vaccinated for COVID-19, but what about COVID-21? And what about Ebola and so on? And
it's crazy. It's crazy and scary. Deborah, what about you? What do you think will be in a year's time, and the vaccine passports?
I think the vaccine passport is a good idea. I mean, how are you going to police it if you don't do something like that for a start? Come on. I can't answer that. Where we're going to be in a year, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be next week, never mind next year. I just think that if we all try to work together with it, and as Navachat said, there could be so many different more variants coming out. There could be so many more different types of other viruses. I mean, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I can't see. Personally, I think that, it's not going to be the best result in the next year. That's what I want to say.
No, that's okay. All right, Melanie, where do you think we'll be in a year's time, and the passport?
I think we'll still be going round and round in circles. I don't think we'll be any much further on, to be quite honest. And I think they're going to put the fear of God in us, where we're going to perhaps be forced to have it anyway. I mean, you're not going to be able to eventually to go into a supermarket without being scanned that you've had, or chipped or something or other, that you've had these injections, that you've had the vaccine. And I think economy-wise, there's no money going round and round, and I think it's just going to be a money-making system, isn't it? It's just going to be how long's a piece of string, and they're just going to, like I say, we don't know what figure they're looking at, but they'll make some money out of. I mean, how many years do you have, statistic-wise? So it's just going to be like the CRB checks. It's £25 a go years and years ago. Me and Gary was talking about that today. That once you get that piece of paper in your hand as a teacher or whatever career you're in, or whatever job system you're going for, you can commit a criminal record within half an hour. You've got the piece of paper in your hand and go out and commit a crime. So is it going to be worth the paper it's written on? And there's always going to be somebody who's going to slip through the net, like you say, fake passports, etc., and selling passports like they've been doing for years to get a couple of £1,000. Because they sent me the wrong passports years ago. My dad questioned me and thought I was up to no good. I got somebody else's passport through the door. My dad that was up to no good. I got
That's
so
funny.
I believe
Yeah.
somebody said to me at the time, if they got a couple of £1,000 for that, I thought, oh, well, shall I have been quick on the balls to think about that? You know, that's
Yeah, Gary, what about you? Where will we be in a year's time and the vaccine passports?
Who's that, me?
Yeah, you. Yeah, you're the only Gary.
Am I?
Yeah.
Hopefully we're... Can I have the second question first? Hopefully we're all alive.
Yeah.
No, we'll be all right. We're just going to... Right, we're just going to go round and... But I've got to make people laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got to make things funny about this. It's depressing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
go out there and try...
Yeah.
I'll have to hold the ball up. I'll have to hold the ball up and say laugh.
You'll have to stand second stage in the circle.
That's what I'll have to do, won't I? I'll have to.
Yeah.
But we can only do what we can do, can't we? I've had my jab. Hopefully everybody else has had their jabs. And I don't think they should go on planes unless they've had all the vaccinations. Because I'll tell you what, I became mental that I've had it. And people are getting away with it.
Absolutely.
But I don't take anodines, I don't take nothing. And it's only because of the lady I'm living with. She's had the vaccine and it's fair. And my kids and all that sort of thing that I've had it done. But I would never have had it done. But I've had it done and I'm going to have the next one. And that's all we can do. Great Britain, we've got to make Britain great again.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Les.
We had. We've got to get Smiley. I want to say you're Smiley.
Les, what about?
We can do.
We'll do a joke at the end. We're going nearly finishing off. Les, what about you?
Yeah, I think it should be worldwide, this vaccinated passport, because if you haven't had it done, you don't get access. You can't go here, you can't go there. Unless you've had it done, like everybody else, you can do what you can. You go in there and you come out there, you know what I mean? But the thing is, it just shows you what's happened, like, all of a sudden, Germany, they opened the lockdown earlier, and then what happens then? Man, back in trouble again, same as what we are. But everybody should be the same with lockdown, all singing from the same hymn sheet.
Exactly,
You know,
yeah.
That's that. This is lockdown all over, not just here, there, and everywhere, because people come out of lockdown and then they start to spread it again. So you know, you're just going around in a circle.
It's one real for one, the other, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we are a global community, so you know, I suppose we've got to act in a global way.
I don't want
we've-
to have it myself. I don't want to get the vaccine, but I'm going to because I'm not just responsible for me. I'm responsible for everybody in my community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's selfish of me not to, you know. I don't particularly want something stuck in me that I don't know what. You know, it's been quickly put together from some of the top scientists in the country or whatever. But I'm thinking, well, I eat crap food sometimes. I might as well, you know, what's in that? You don't. So,
That's a fair point. That's a good analogy.
I'm 25, it ain't done me no harm.
you know what I'm trying to say?
Say 85.
All right.
Make me look a bit...
As you mentioned, Trevor McDonald, we've got the last 2 minutes left. So, any quick gags you guys want to do, Gary or Les?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Dad. I've just heard breaking news. I've just heard breaking news on the telly. Just
What?
got my eye on the telly.
What's
I
that?
reckon Humpty Dumpty never fell. He was pushed.
Was that on the nose?
No, my head.
Yeah. That's I love.
I'll do one.
Brilliant.
Yeah, go on, Gary. Go. Gary, go.
Little boy and a little girl in the bath. Little boy says to little girl, I'm going to duck you. She said, you can't even say it properly.
Right. Yeah. No, that's.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. You want to? You got another minute. Anybody wants to fire off a happy ending message?
God, you stay away from heaven.
Go on, Gary.
How do you say it? Like, that's a bit rude, that one. 2 monkeys in a bath. What up? We laugh at it. Have you heard it?
Go on, just say it. Go on.
Two monkeys in a bath, one up one end, one up the other end. 2 monkeys in a bath. One's gone, woo, 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 The other one said, put some cold in there.
You've made my day, Gary, anyway.
And you made my day that you're going to have the needle.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm with you on it. I'm with you.
I had a great big bloke, 18 stone down my one, only a little brick.
Well, send him down to me then.
That's right.
You could only handle a small prick, couldn't you, Gary?
For me,
Yeah.
Oh, now you have to take it to gutter level. Who's took it to
Oh,
gutter
here we
level?
go.
There we go.
He might be little, but he's still got a few brains.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the bank account.
Yeah, no worries. All right, look, we're approaching the end now. We're up to 40 minutes now. So it's been great to get your insight into all this stuff that's been going on in the past year. And so thanks to Ian, to Deborah, to Gary, to Melanie, to Navajat, and of course to the black cab driver, or the former black cab driver, Les. So I'm going to sign off in a minute. So take care, and we'll hopefully hook up again next week.
Don't be late.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Anyway,
See you later.
All the best, everybody.
Yeah, see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Lovely
Take
speaking
care.
to
God bless.
you.
Take care. Bye.